For those who studied both World War II, but more importantly, the Holocaust, there's a famous quote by Martin Niemöller. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists. I did not speak out because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. I say that because it should not take a president of the United States to be cajoled into speaking out against hatred wherever it shows its ugliness, in whatever form. A president has a moral voice, a moral component to that office. And all of us have a responsibility, whatever shape or form bigotry happens, to speak out. Last Friday, General Milley, who's head of the Army, was in Chicago. I brought him to Phoenix Military because they've been very supportive of the school. We walked around. I wanted to show them because they had been supportive of the STEM education there. Then we did a round table with the kids, but they also had kids from Lane Tech, Taft, and Senn. One young man couldn't but capture your attention because he talked about he was not just good at math, he was a math genius, is how he referred to himself. And he had a winning personality. Afterwards, when we were all standing around the general eye, the general says to this young man, "What do you want to do?" He says, "I want to be in the Army Corps of Engineers." He goes, "Where do you want to go?" He goes, "I'd love to one day go to the school at West Point." The general says, "I'll write you a letter. You'll be in. You'll do it. We need you." He goes, "I can't do it." The general goes, "Why? I'll write you a letter. I'm the head of the Army." Acting like he was from Chicago. I put my hand on the kid, on the general rather, and I said, "He's a dreamer." And a moment, this young man, who in full uniform, speaking to a 4-star general in full uniform, just started crying. And then I said to the group of kids that were around, I said, "Who here is a dreamer?" About 20 kids, 8 hands go up. And just they start crying. Because these kids are holding their families together in a moment where we as a nation are saying you are not welcomed here. And the reason the city will be a welcoming city is that those kids who are trying, the only ones who probably in their home that speak English are trying to tell their parents it will be okay. And if we don't speak up for them, then there'll be nobody left to speak for us. So whether it's a Jewish cemetery, a dreamer, a Muslim, gay or lesbian, we cannot allow a language of division and bigotry to be accepted as the norm. I would ask each of you, beyond this resolution, because every one of our areas, the city as a whole, but every one of your wards, you know this, are diverse. When I was in Alderman Arena's ward at Pressing School, kids from Eritrea, Romania, Poland, all came up and said welcome in their native language, but accepted the language here in the United States as Americans. This resolution speaks to anti-Semitism. Bigotry against Muslims is a bigotry against all of us. Because I will say this as a Jew, I am Muslim. I will say this in this room, I am Mexican. I will say in this room, I am also from Poland. I will say in this room, I am gay and lesbian. Whatever you have to be Because if we accept as a norm that we're not all from Chicago, you're also black. Whatever the bigotry is, whatever the hatred is. And I say that because this is about being Jewish. So it would make sense that the Jewish mayor would speak up. It is incumbent upon all of us, given our positions, to never accept bigotry, hatred, isolation based on any identity. Because if we are a welcoming city, you have to look at the kids, whether they were at Prussing or at Phoenix, and know that they are living now in a sense of fear. And it is incumbent upon us as a city to actually live out what it means to be a welcoming city. I welcome all those who support our fellow Jewish citizens in this time. I welcome you to support our fellow citizens who are of the Muslim faith. I welcome you to support our citizens who are Hispanic, of either Mexican or any other descent from Central America, African American community, gay and lesbian community. This cannot be accepted where bigotry and hatred and division is accepted. And a president of the United States, all of them find their voices. But in that voice is a voice, a moral voice that speaks to our better angels. And it does not need cajoling. It does not need, what is needed is a persuasion to all of us to speak to our better angels. I want to thank you all for adopting this resolution.